Have you ever wondered why no matter how hard you try to move forward in life, something keeps pulling you back? You smile in public, act strong for everyone else and tell yourself you're fine, but deep down you feel stuck, exhausted, or even empty. The truth is, it's not life that's holding you back, it's the pain you've been ignoring. And until you face it, it will quietly destroy you from the inside out. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, said, "What you resist not only persists but will grow in size." Pain isn't just a wound, it's a message, a signal from your soul. And when you bury that message, it doesn't disappear. It becomes the silent architect of your fears, your failures, your frustrations, and your relationships. In this video, we're going deep into Jung's powerful insight. The pain you ignore is destroying you. You'll discover why your hidden wounds still control you, how your unconscious mind silently cries for healing, and how facing your pain can actually unlock your deepest potential. If you're tired of pretending everything is okay and you're ready to truly heal, then keep watching. The shadow and repressed pain. At the core of Jung's teachings is the concept of the shadow, the unconscious part of the psyche that contains aspects of ourselves that we have rejected, denied, or suppressed. These may include desires deemed socially unacceptable, painful memories, irrational fears, or traits that conflict with our conscious self-image. The shadow is formed during our developmental years when we are taught, directly or indirectly, what is good and bad. As a result, we bury the bad within, hoping it will disappear. However, the shadow doesn't disappear, it simply goes underground. The emotions and experiences we repress often become the fuel for deep psychological disturbances. Anger we were never allowed to express may transform into passive aggression. Shame from childhood abuse might manifest as self-sabotage in adulthood. The pain we thought we buried resurfaces in disguised forms, disrupting our lives from beneath the surface. Jung emphasized that repressed pain feeds the shadow, making it more powerful and more dangerous. When this pain is not brought into consciousness and integrated, it acts autonomously, meaning it influences us without our awareness. The more we ignore it, the more it controls us. We may find ourselves in repetitive cycles, choosing partners who wound us, staying in jobs that drain us, or living with chronic anxiety. These are all symptoms of an unlived life, dictated by unacknowledged inner wounds. Projection and the externalization of inner pain. One of Jung's most revolutionary insights was the concept of psychological projection. He argued that the qualities and feelings we disown in ourselves are often projected onto other people. For example, if we deny our capacity for anger, we might constantly feel that others are hostile. If we suppress feelings of inferiority, we may perceive others as arrogant or threatening. These projections are distortions, reflections of our own inner pain, cast onto the outside world. Projection allows the psyche to maintain the illusion of control. It's easier to blame others than to confront the truth about ourselves. However, this comes at a great cost. When we project our pain, we become disconnected from reality, and our relationships suffer. We develop skewed perceptions of the world and others, which leads to unnecessary conflict, isolation, and emotional turmoil. This externalization of pain prevents healing. Jung believed that what is unconscious must be made conscious in order to be transformed. As long as our pain remains in the dark, projected onto the world, we remain powerless to change it. Only when we recognize that the conflict is within us can we begin the real work of integration. Confronting our projections requires humility and courage, but it is essential if we are to reclaim our power and peace. The persona, ego, and the fear of pain. In addition to the shadow, Jung also identified the persona, the social mask we wear to conform to societal expectations. While the persona helps us function in the world, it becomes a problem when we start believing that the mask is our true self. Behind the mask often lies a fragile ego desperately trying to maintain a sense of control by avoiding pain and vulnerability. The ego is the center of conscious awareness, but it tends to view pain as a threat to its stability. To protect itself, the ego denies, suppresses, or rationalizes painful emotions. Over time, this defense mechanism leads to a split within the self. The authentic self becomes buried under layers of pretense and denial, and a deep inner conflict begins to brew. The more we try to hide from pain, the more power it gains in our unconscious. Living through the persona and avoiding pain also leads to emotional numbness. We lose touch with the richness of our inner life. We may feel flat, uninspired, or anxious without knowing why. Jung called this a state of psychic disintegration, where the inner self is so fragmented that the person can no longer find meaning or direction. The false self becomes a cage, and the ignored pain within continues to deteriorate the soul from inside. The unconscious is a path to healing. While Jung recognized the dangers of repressed pain, he also believed in the profound intelligence of the unconscious mind. Pain, in Jung's view, is a signal, not a sentence. It is the psyche's way of alerting us that something within us is unresolved and needs attention. Rather than silencing pain, we must listen to it. Pain can reveal our deepest truths, truths we've long been afraid to face. The unconscious communicates through dreams, symbols, synchronicities, and emotional responses. These messages often contain the very material we need to bring into consciousness in order to heal. Jungian therapy encourages the exploration of dreams and active imagination to engage with the unconscious. In doing so, repressed pain begins to surface in a manageable and meaningful way. Healing, according to Jung, is a process of integration, bringing together the fragmented aspects of the self, including pain. This process is not linear and often involves intense emotional work, but through shadow work, inner child healing, and guided introspection, the pain that once threatened to destroy us becomes a tool for growth. The unconscious no longer needs to scream to be heard because we finally begin to listen. Individuation and the transformation of pain. At the heart of Jung's psychology is the process of individuation, the journey of becoming whole by integrating all parts of the self, both light and dark. Pain plays a central role in this process. Each wound we carry contains not only suffering but also wisdom. When we confront our pain with consciousness, it transforms into insight. We begin to see the purpose behind the suffering. Individuation requires moving through darkness. Jung often compared this to alchemy, transforming lead pain into gold wisdom. It is not enough to understand pain intellectually. We must experience it, feel it, and learn from it. This often involves reparenting ourselves, grieving past wounds, and forgiving both ourselves and others. The path is difficult but profoundly liberating. Through individuation, pain becomes a portal to authenticity. Many people discover their life purpose, creativity, and spiritual depth only after going through deep psychological suffering. Jung believed that the self, our true essence, cannot emerge without the trials of pain. What once threatened to destroy us becomes the very thing that saves us. Pain, embraced and transformed, becomes our greatest teacher. The consequences of avoiding pain. Avoiding pain may bring temporary relief, but it leads to long-term suffering. Jung observed that those who deny their inner wounds often fall into patterns of addiction, anxiety, depression, or compulsive behavior. These are not random afflictions. They are symptoms of a soul in distress. When pain is not addressed, it finds another way to be expressed, often through the body or through self-destructive habits. Jung also warned that unaddressed inner pain can lead to mental fragmentation. The psyche, overwhelmed by unprocessed trauma, begins to split. This can result in dissociation, numbness, or even psychosis in extreme cases. The very mechanisms we use to protect ourselves from pain end up isolating us from life, love, and meaning. It's a tragic paradox. In trying to avoid pain, we amplify it. On a societal level, collective pain that is ignored can lead to violence, war, and cultural decay. Jung believed that unresolved unconscious material within a society could erupt in destructive ways, just as it does within individuals. The pain we avoid, whether personal or collective, doesn't disappear. It festers and eventually explodes. Conclusion: pain is a path to wholeness. Carl Jung's teachings reveal a powerful and liberating truth. The pain we ignore is not our enemy. It is our path to transformation. When we suppress pain, we give it more power. But when we face it with awareness, we reclaim our wholeness. The journey is not easy, but it is essential. In a culture that encourages distraction and denial, Jung's wisdom calls us to turn inward, to listen to our wounds and embrace the parts of ourselves we were taught to fear. True healing doesn't come from avoidance. It comes from confrontation, compassion, and integration. The shadow, once feared, becomes a source of strength. The wound, once avoided, becomes the womb of rebirth. In the end, the pain you ignore is destroying you is not a threat. It is an invitation. An invitation to stop running, to face yourself, and to emerge on the other side not broken but whole. And that, as Jung knew well, is the true work of the soul.